Welcome to Being Brave 2021, an evening honoring survivors of domestic violence. The conversations this evening may be difficult to hear, but are necessary. If in any way you feel uncomfortable or triggered or need to speak to someone, there are two confidential domestic violence advocates here tonight. Representatives from the North Brunswick Domestic Violence Response Team are available to speak with you privately. You can find them outside the exit doors for this theater. It is never our intent to trigger anyone. However, the very nature of what we are presenting may have that effect. And if you are in a situation at home which is unsafe, please call the National Domestic Violence 24/7 hotline. That number is 1-800-799-7233 or 1-800-799-SAFE. Thank you for supporting the work of Town Clock CDC. Now let us hear directly from one of our Town Clock CDC's residents.
Me he sentido bien segura, porque al principio me sentía con mucho miedo y todo me daba mucho terror y salir a la calle y todo, pero desde que empecé a vivir en Dinaswelling me empecé a sentir protegida y también mi hijo también. Me dio alas en el sentido que me ayudó a crecer y a quererme a yo misma y ver que nunca se dice nunca, que sí que nosotras podemos superar todos esos problemas emocionales que pasamos cuando estuvimos en la experiencia de domestic violence. Me siento demasiado bien en escucharlo porque esto es una gran oportunidad para las personas que hemos pasado por esto, para ayudarnos a crecer y a querernos nosotras mismas. Y ellas puedan ver que sí se puede, que podemos seguir adelante y que sí se puede superar y que nunca podemos echar para atrás y que podemos seguir hacia adelante. Dinaswelling para mí es una oportunidad como que nos da las alas, las wings, como dicen, las alas, y entonces después que nos da las alas, nosotros podamos volar.
In the absence of a mother's arm, she swaddles her baby tight. The essence of that blanket means warmth and safety for the young, not because the mother doesn't care to be there, but because of all her care. She knows every layer she wraps around her seed represents strength, protection, kindness, and love. Each tucked corner depicts a mother's security. That point is a lock and key that not only is the infant safe, but secure from all harm. Now this happens if you're lucky. Because just like the wrapped child that's shielded, there is a child that is not. Life's corners become untucked, unwrapped, or loosened, and they are prey to the elements. You see, absent wraps and corners means arms flinging and legs kicking, producing projection, most likely to the edge. Both scenarios produce, without assistance, growth. The child grows. Differently, they abound. They learn life differently. Wings begin to grow. That growth is sometimes expanded by encouragement. On the other hand, some wings are clipped, cut, or maybe yanked out. They may have to battle and not flutter. They may have to run when they want to fly. And seeking safety over soaring is your temporary position. But because there is a God, you still got your wings. Large and majestic, expanded or not, it's those days you take those same wings and layer by layer, you wrap yourself. Every layer has its part. Womb covered. That's where life is, not just birth. Gut checked. So you are not gut checked by the foolery of this world. Chest for a man is his source of pride. But for a woman, it's a source of nourishment. The greatest target for the opponent of life. But yes, I am covered. Now you are covered. Wait, you feel I forgot my shoulders? I could never cover them. They are the foundation for those who are to come behind me to stand on. So they must stay visible. So what about my head? Well, it houses my thoughts, and they are my dreams. Dreams I see, dreams I hear, and dreams I speak into existence. All of that cannot be covered. The world is waiting for it. And why not my feet, legs, and thighs, you ask? Because I have to be able to run, mark time, kneel, pray, and sometimes kick and scream, swaddled or not. And as far as my unshielded backside, oh, I leave that open on purpose. You ask why? Someone may kick you. Exactly. See, you can't kick me without propelling me. When you nudge me, I may stumble, but it's always forward. And when you propel me, I get a pep in my step that gives me momentum. Momentum brings about security. And I feel safe to unwrap my wings. Now you see my glory. You see my strength. You see my determination, my kindness, and love out in the open for all to see. Life's lessons are the wind beneath my wings. Yes, I embrace the experiences of my legs and arms fluttering through life because I wasn't swaddled. Or maybe I was, and I foolishly untucked my own corners. But nevertheless, now I fly. Yes, we are great, and yes, we are bruised. But we were made to fly. So everybody spread your wings. Spread your wings, make no apology. Let's spread our wings and fly, child, fly. This is you. This is me. Warriors, victors, overcomers, ladies and gentlemen, this is Ahmed Wallace.
For we are glorious. Clap for the sound people, y'all. When as sharp as words want to put me down, I'm gonna send a flood, gonna drown them out. I am bruised, I am brave, I am who I'm meant to be. This is me. Look out, 'cause here I come. And I'm marching to the beat of drum. I'm not scared to be seen. I make no apologies. This is me. Oh. Can y'all sing this with me? Say this. Say, oh, come on. Oh, 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 we are glorious. When the sharpest words want to break me down, I'm gonna send the flood, I'm gonna drown them out. I am brave, I am bruised, I am who I'm meant to be. This is me. Look out, 'cause here I come. And I'm marching to the beat I drum. I am said to be seen. I make no apologies. This is me. Say it, y'all. Oh, say it. Sing it louder. Oh, 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 oh. When the sun was mine, want to break me down, I'm gonna send the flood and drown them out. I'm not scared to be seen. I make no apologies. When the sharpest words want to break me down, I'm gonna send the flood and drown them out. I'm not scared to be seen. I make no apologies. This is me. Yeah. This is me. Say it with me, y'all. Oh, say it. Can you say it now? Oh, 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 this is me.
Introducing our host for the evening, award-winning writer, producer, podcaster, and member of the New Jersey Broadcasters Association Radio Hall of Fame, Burt Barron.
Wow, do I have my work cut out for me tonight, huh? Wow. Thank you all so much, everyone. I am so incredibly honored to be here tonight as your host. And on behalf of Town Clock Community Development Corporation, I welcome all of you here to the beautiful New Brunswick Performing Arts Center. Without a doubt, one of the best live theater spaces that you'll find anywhere in the state of New Jersey. And I would also like to welcome all of you watching at home via live stream, because we do have a global audience with us here tonight, so we want them to feel like they belong as well. Yeah. And it is with deep gratitude that we thank you for supporting our mission to provide permanent, affordable, safe housing and supportive services for survivors of domestic violence and their children. You know, our vision is to end the cycle of domestic violence by giving survivors time. As you saw, we were inspired by our residents to create Spreading Our Wings as our year-long program theme for 2021. Town Clock CDC is a catalyst that encourages and supports our residents to spread their wings as they journey to regain their independence and rebuild their lives. They are safe. Each is in her own permanent, affordable home and receiving supportive services. And as we all know, having a home provides you with the opportunity to be still, to be safe, and to be healed. As you can imagine, this was not always the case for a survivor of domestic violence, and that, ladies and gentlemen, is why we are here tonight. Through performances of spoken word, art, and song, we will gain a better understanding of what a survivor's experience is like. We will learn the importance of listening to their stories, and we will be inspired by the triumphs of our residents and other survivors as they learn to spread their wings. During the last 2 years, many of the residents of Town Clock CDC have been on a journey. It's a journey of healing and self-discovery by creating art. To represent their creative spirit, we have commissioned a very special artist to be with us here on the right side of the stage. Your left, my right. Her name is Laura DeQuilla. She is a professional artist who will be sketching and painting watercolors of tonight's performances. Laura also understands our residents firsthand because she too is a survivor of domestic violence. Laura, we thank you for being here tonight to share your art with us. Thank you. We will check in with you throughout the evening to see your beautiful and inspiring work. And once again, a round of applause as we welcome Laura with us here tonight. Joining us once again this year is one of the prominent figures here in the city of New Brunswick, where Town Clock CDC is based. We are delighted to bring to the stage a gentleman who will present a proclamation to Town Clock CDC President Rebecca Escobar and Executive Director Reverend Susan Kramer Mills. Please welcome the mayor of this incredible city and my boss, Mayor Jim Cahill.
Bert's gotten taller. I get it. So, good evening, everybody. Thank you. It is a pleasure to be with you here this evening and to welcome you to the New Brunswick Performing Arts Center and to what is sure to be a special and rememberable evening. We come together tonight to show our love and our support for Town Clock CDC and all the survivors of domestic violence it serves. Town Clock CDC has been a cornerstone in New Brunswick's ongoing commitment to help those in need and the belief that no one should ever have to live in fear or in the confines of their own home or with the constant threat of violence from someone they may have trusted at one time. Tonight, through art, performance, and through spoken word, and a powerful show of unity, we will together as one send a loud and clear message that domestic violence in any form is unacceptable and that its victims deserve safety, support, and to live with dignity. You certainly can clap. I urge you to continue your support of Town Clock CDC throughout tonight's event and even beyond. There is no force more powerful than like-minded individuals being together in a consolidated effort with a common goal. So I thank you for joining us this evening and for being a part of this powerful cause. Now, one of the great privileges and honors of being a mayor is you get to pay tribute to great people and to great organizations. So I have that honor and privilege tonight, and we do so by way of issuance of a proclamation. And tonight, we have such great honorees that we are paying tribute to tonight. Of course, there is Tony Award-winning entertainer and Tony Award-winning and RB legend, Melba Moore, who is with us tonight, as well as some of our local heroes in Reverend Cindy Stauffer of United Methodist Church, right here in New Brunswick, Michelle Barancas and Safe and Sound Somerset, and Roosevelt School principal right here in the city of New Brunswick, Gisela Ciancia, are with us. But most of all, we're here to pay tribute to the outstanding work of Town Clock CDC, to its wonderful executive director, Reverend Susan Kramer Mills, its chair of the Board of Trustees, Rebecca Escobar, the outstanding staff, and all the members of the Board of Trustees and the volunteers that do so much for people that are so in need. So On behalf of all the residents of the city of New Brunswick, it is my honor and privilege to recognize and to congratulate Town Clock Community Development Corporation on its third annual Being Brave, an evening honoring survivors. We are so proud and privileged that Town Clock CDC calls New Brunswick home. Thank you so much, everybody, and God bless. And we actually presented.
We're supposed to go over here and take a picture.
All right, once again for Mayor Cahill and Rebecca Escobar and Susan Kramer Mills, congratulations. You know, we're very proud of the work of Town Clock CDC and everything they're doing to help the community of New Brunswick and the greater Central Jersey area too. We also want to acknowledge that women are not the only people who experience domestic violence. There are men who are survivors too. Domestic violence can happen in all types of partner relationships. Tonight, we continue our mission of awareness that this behavior simply must stop. It's an evening like this that is the result of a dedicated team of workers and volunteers and the tremendous support of our committed sponsors. Please take a moment to give a round of applause to all the sponsors seen on the screen and also in the digital playbill. Yeah. We would also ask that you would please patronize these sponsors as they are supporting this mission right along with you. So one more round of applause for our sponsors, please. Tonight we will also honor various people and organizations that are supporting survivors of domestic violence. The first award this evening is the Outstanding Advocate Award, and it will be presented by Town Clock CDC Executive Director Reverend Susan Kramer Mills. Please welcome her back to the stage.
Good evening. The Outstanding Advocate Award is given typically to an individual or a group who challenges perceptions and educates the public about domestic violence. In response to the challenge of educating students during the pandemic, Gisela Ciancia, Roosevelt School Principal of New Brunswick, will be honored for helping Town Clock CDC children, all of whom experience domestic violence. Principal Ciancia is receiving this honor in recognition of all educators who help the 1 in 15 children exposed to domestic violence each year. In addition, we want to recognize the extra challenges that all educators faced during the pandemic. It is with great pleasure that I present this year's Outstanding Advocate Award to Gisela Ciancia, Principal of the Roosevelt School in New Brunswick.
Thank you, Town Clock Community Development Corporation. It is an honor to be here and to have been selected for the Outstanding Advocate Award. As an educator for 17 years, I have seen many ups and downs. But these last 2 years, with the pandemic and teaching virtually, presented many new challenges for educators, more than anticipated. It also created more challenges for our students, especially those at risk. When we see children in person every day, educators can see the changes in their behaviors and physical appearance. However, it was more difficult to assess the emotional and physical well-being of our students over the computer because many would hide behind the screen. We learned quickly that we had to rely on our gut feeling, and intuition is actually why I am speaking with you today. After multiple attempts to engage one particular student in learning, it was clear that there was more to her story than a student who did not want to do her work. When I spoke to her mom, I could hear the desperation in her voice, which led me to ask, "Do you want me to come to your home?" Mom was surprised but replied, "Yes." As is required, a representative from the New Brunswick Police Department Juvenile Department detective accompanied me on the home to visit Town Clock. The student had been with us at Roosevelt since kindergarten. So we have been part of her and her mother's journey to escape domestic violence and start a new life. During the home visit, we quickly realized that the isolation of the pandemic was causing this child serious emotional trauma. We immediately secured specialized services for our student to help her cope. This is the part of the journey that is rarely spoken about. Surviving domestic violence is far more than getting out. Surviving often requires a long healing process, especially for children. As Helen Keller stated, alone we can do so little, together we can do so much. It has not been easy, but we're happy to see so much progress with our students. Nowadays, she happily comes to school. When I last spoke to her, she said, "I'm doing pretty good. I'm making new friends, and my teachers are really sweet." As a school principal, it is my role and the responsibility of my team to ensure that our students' needs academically, socially, and emotionally are met, inside and outside of the school. We are so grateful that our student has the support that she needs because children can only thrive when they feel safe in school, at home, and in the community. This family's journey is a story of courage, strength, and support between the family, Town Clock, and the school. It is an example how there is success and worth in having a village. Mom has always been open and honest about her journey, as she hopes that her story will help her daughter and others understand their self-worth. Together, we can make an impactful difference that ultimately saves lives. To my love, as you sit here tonight in the audience, I want you to remember that you are loved and you are worthy. The strength within you will carry you through life, but even when you're far gone from Roosevelt, know that our doors are always open. We love you and we believe in you. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Lauren Weinstein, and I am the creator of The Gift of Time, Town Clock CDC's mission to heal. Quite simply, this project has changed my life. Never before have I had the experience of intimately working with a group that I am making art about. Teaching art to these women has been such a gift, and I thank them. It has been my privilege to have worked with the board, staff, and residents of Town Clock CDC over the past 3 years, hearing their stories. There is so much happening at Town Clock, from supportive services to advocacy to nurturing social environments, that it can seem overwhelming to understand how it all works. Through hearing these stories and compiling them in this project, it is my hope to take all of you through the doors of Town Clock to better understand the healing that this community organization provides. It is my pleasure to introduce the talented actors and the production team from Collab Arts to present to you an excerpt from The Gift of Time.
Introducing The Gift of Time by Lauren Weinstein, performed by Abigail Hawk, Chantal Jean-Pierre, and Meredith Gruneye. The Gift of Time, Town Clock CDC's Mission to Heal by Lauren R. Weinstein. It's the night of my first meeting at Town Clock.
having braves on your lawn. It's November 2019. I feel anxious and depressed about my country. This is my chance to act and combine the two things I've done for my adult life, teaching art and making comics.
Okay, it's Susan. I'm coming downstairs.
If I suck at it, it'll be over in a year. Hi, this building is beautiful. It's amazing. The history.
You mean the fire?
Executive Director, Reverend Susan Kramer Mills.
Yeah, it was right here. In 1971, a man came here looking for his ex, who the church was protecting. She was cleaning the church to give back, and he came in looking for her and set the place on fire. And the sanctuary was never properly repaired, so when I became a pastor here around 2000, we began to think about how to rededicate the space. And we said, maybe God was trying to tell us something. Maybe we need to house survivors of domestic violence.
And how did you decide on long-term housing for the women?
Well, I felt that long-term affordable housing would be better for anybody. There are only 14 beds like this in all of New Jersey. We have 11 of them. Women need to heal. Most places expect you to get out after 6 months tops, and most women don't have the financials to do that. So a tremendous amount of women end up going back to their abusers. Where else are they supposed to go? You know, when we got our final funding?
When?
Superstorm Sandy. FEMA was giving away lots of money for new housing because when natural disasters hit, domestic violence always goes up.
So Hurricane Sandy was sort of, lucky?
Well, no. I like to think we're inviting the spirits in, using disasters as a catalyst for change.
Susan takes me upstairs and shows me the meeting room. I meet Christine Edwards, the programmer for Town Clock.
So this is where you'd be doing the art. And we will provide the materials.
We talk about the project. I'm supposed to make comics with the residents. I've taught comics to college students for years, but have no background in art therapy.
Maybe we should do a superhero project with them.
They could make vision boards of where they see themselves.
Sounds good. I can write the questions. We'll be in the room with you during the workshop.
Okay. Vision boards? Superheroes? That seems pretty cheesy.
We should wrap this up. I've got my other job managing cases at a mental health facility, and then one of my classes for social work school.
It's 10:30. I didn't realize. I'm sorry.
Town Clock is everyone's second job.
The community dinner. This is Sylvia and Ramona.
What book are you reading?
Edgar Allan Poe?
Edgar Allan Poe isn't a book.
I'm supposed to find the residents and get them interested in the cartooning workshop, but it's hard to tell who is a resident and who is a guest. People don't wear trauma on their sleeves. I find an empty seat near a gentle-looking woman named Araja. What a cutie! What's his name?
James. He's cute, but he does not sleep. Does your child sleep?
Sometimes. Oof! I'm brain dead. Where are you from? Your English is very good.
I am from Redacted. Our colonial masters were British, so I speak English.
Hey, would you like to come to an art workshop I'm going to teach?
I don't know anything about art, but it could be good.
A chair falls.
Slam!
A woman jumps.
Working at Town Clock, I learned to break down my own walls with these women. I was like, we're not going to get close. I don't do the hugging and all of that. And it's not that I'm not a warm person. It's just, no. I have created my own boundaries. But I had to show myself as more than just someone who works here, but as empathetic, knowledgeable, caring, and warm. I had to show who I am, and it has changed me.
In transitional housing, there's a deadline and there's an agenda. And you must meet that by a specific time, wherever you are, whether you're ready or not. With Town Clock, we're assisting you to be ready when you're ready to be ready.
The only agenda is to keep you moving along in whatever way that looks like for women. If for 6 months you just want to lie in bed and not do a thing, that is fine. But now the conversation is going to be, what are your goals? Do you want to exercise? Do you want to go to school? And it really is sometimes teaching them to think for themselves so that they can make these decisions.
The last public event I attend before quarantine is Daraja's son John's first birthday. Then the art lessons become texts.
How do you draw a red convertible and a cobra?
Oh man, I don't know. You just can't make those up. Send me a picture?
I got a court hearing online. Do you know how to do it?
Oh yeah, this is Zoom. I just used it for the first time yesterday. Daraja, how are you?
Oh, I am okay by the grace of God.
In the depths of the winter, I get drawings texted at odd hours, and these texts get me through the loneliness and isolation of the quarantine. The one constant thing that Town Clock provides is time. Figuring out what support each woman needs is an ongoing journey. Christine wants to find success like this.
When they can really do it on their own, like I've already gone through the steps, and they're able to make these decisions on their own, they're able to navigate it themselves, and they only come to me for, okay, this is what I've done. That's success to me. Because it doesn't even matter if you win or fail. It's that you made a decision, and you stuck to it, and you saw it through.
After the show, please visit our shop in the lobby where you can purchase The Gift of Time by Lauren Weinstein. This is a new comic book about Town Clock CDC. You can also purchase art prints by our Town Clock CDC residents. All proceeds benefit the work of Town Clock CDC and our residents. Returning to the stage, Reverend Susan Kramer Mills.
Art. Art is for healing ourselves, and everybody needs their own personal art to heal up their problems. This was said by one of our most accomplished singers, Linda Ronstadt. At Town Clock CDC, art is an essential path on the healing journey for our residents. Award-winning artist Lauren Weinstein has been providing art classes for our residents for close to 2 years. We are thrilled to have her as a part of the Town Clock family. We are grateful for her work on the comic book, The Gift of Time, which you just saw an excerpt performed from. This past summer was very special because through a generous grant from her alma mater, Lauren hosted a trip for some of our residents to the Metropolitan Museum of Art. We viewed the Alice Neal exhibition. Now, I was not familiar at all with Neal's work, but immediately saw why Lauren chose this exhibition for us to see. Alice Neal's paintings showed people in all their colors and gender expressions, in all their difficulties, in all life circumstances. That's why the exhibition was aptly titled, People Come First. Her paintings depicted grief at losing a child, sitting in the mental health clinic, many nudes, even one of a pregnant woman which was considered groundbreaking at the time. That's hard to imagine nowadays, but it was. So many of her pictures were also of mothers with their children. The diversity was beautiful. And we all immediately connected with Neil's art. But the one picture which caused all of us to pause and to discuss was the nude that Alice Neil had done of her 6-year-old daughter in 1934. The child stands defiantly, hands on her hips, staring at the viewer. But the backstory of this painting caused us to ponder. You see, Neil's partner at the time, the Cuban painter Carlos Enriquez, took the daughter back to Cuba when Alice Neil lost her custody battle. Gutted by despair, Neil was hospitalized after attempting self-harm. She only saw her daughter, Isabetta, 3 more times in the 50 years that followed. Our residents quietly stood before this picture in deep thought. So much strength exudes from the daughter's face, yet so much sadness could be felt from the artist. This painting was all that Alice Neil really had of her daughter. And in many ways, it represents how many of our residents and other survivors of domestic violence miss their children. Some women have left their children behind in order to flee for their life. Some have lost their custody battles. Some continue to fight for custody. And some are fortunate to be able to raise their children. Alice Neil survived her trauma of loss of her child, but it is a sadness that never totally healed. Our residents standing in front of that painting felt Neil's pain. How does one go on living? How does one lose it all? Home, work, even family and friends, and not lose oneself? You know, there is a new Netflix miniseries titled Made, which accurately depicts a young survivor of domestic violence by the name of Alex. It shows the ups and downs Alex experiences when she leaves an abusive relationship. It shows how she struggles to take her child with her, how she does not have a safe place to go, so she sleeps in her car, how she tries to find a job, how the courts threaten to take her child because she has nothing. And in desperation to get money and housing, Alex signs up to become a housekeeper. It's the only job accessible to her, yet the position is underpaid and often abusive. But she needs a job in order to get transitional housing and with rental assistance in order to keep the custody of her child. The requirements of the system can be debilitating. The miniseries shows how difficult it is to get good child care, especially if you don't have a support system that can take care of the child when the mother is sick. It demonstrates how a parent faces losing a job or even hourly wages if they can't work because of a child's illness. It is an endless no-win cycle. The series shows how our well-intentioned social service system is overwhelmed with the amount of people needing assistance and how little affordable housing there is, let alone ones that are safe and clean, not to mention if supportive services are offered or not, which is rare. this young woman's resiliency is due largely to the fact that she is fighting to have her daughter with her. That is what gives her the strength to carry on. Children give many of our residents the strength to rise up and overcome, even when they are feeling broken. In their 1985 song, Broken Wings, the group Mr. Mister sings this refrain, and I'm sure you could probably sing it with me, many of you. Take these broken wings, you've got to learn to fly, learn to live, love so free. And when we hear the voices sing, the book of love will open up and let us in. Yeah, yeah. How does one heal broken wings? Healing requires, first of all, good, supportive care. Second, a safe place to live. And 3, you need time. Getting those 3 components just right is complicated. And it is very rare to find facilities that offer all 3. At present, there are only 3 locations in the entire state of New Jersey that offer permanent, affordable, safe housing with supportive services. Only 17 apartments with a specific program for survivors are available. It certainly is not adequate for the thousands of victims, which are on average, they total about 70,000 cases in the state of New Jersey alone. 70,000. 17. Town Clock is the largest facility in New Jersey. At Dina's Dwellings with 10 apartments for women and children, and the Barbara Littman House for a woman with up to 5 children. And just to be sure that we understand tonight the severity of these statistics, domestic violence is the #1 reason, the #1 cause of female homelessness in the United States. 57% of homeless women cite that domestic violence is the root cause of why they don't have a place to live. 57%. You have got to learn to fly, to live, and to love. Those words echo in the song refrain, but that's easier said than done. Rebuilding lives requires a safe place which is affordable. Rebuilding lives requires supportive services, including education, job training, life skills, therapy, coaching, and more. It requires dedicated staff that deeply cares and works beyond the time clock. It requires a board and volunteers who are willing to give of their time and raise money. Rebuilding lives requires supporters and advocates like all of you here tonight and watching on Livestream, who support Town Clock CDC, support our residents, and support the need for a Housing First initiative to end the cycle of domestic violence. Your support empowers our advocacy work and our goal to help other organizations follow our model and develop more housing opportunities for survivors of domestic violence. Eventually, we hope to reach our long-term goal of scaling our program and having at least 2 housing facilities in every state based on our model. All right. I know, it's a huge dream. It is a huge dream, but we are hopeful. We are hopeful. As hopeful, yes. All right. We are hopeful. Seeing all you here tonight, all right? As hopeful as seeing a hummingbird in downtown New Brunswick. Can you imagine that? Yes, yes. And I would not have believed it if I had not seen it myself. Our residents, staff, and volunteers came together to create a beautiful flower and vegetable garden this past summer. Plants and bird feeders were dropped off by many donors. Some of our residents added to the ambiance by providing solar accent lights and other decorations. The beautiful, safe, and nourishing environment they created for themselves also attracted an unexpected but welcome visitor, a hummingbird looking for sustenance. And once she appeared, provisions were made to help our unofficial mascot, who returned daily until the season changed, and she was strong enough to fly along to the next path on her journey. We all recognize the symbolism of our little hummingbird, what she had for all of us. We are sorry to see her leave, but we know it was time for her to spread her wings and fly free. God bless. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Introducing Vinroy Brown and the Elevation Singers.
You're broken down and tired of living life on a merry-go-round, and you can't find the fighter, but I see it in you, so we can walk it out. Mountains, we can walk it out. Mountains,
I'll rise up, I'll rise like the day, I'll rise up, I'll rise unafraid, I'll rise up, and I'll do it 1,000 times again. I'll rise up, high like the waves, I'll rise up, in spite of the ache, I'll rise up, and I'll do it 1,000 times again. For you, for you, for you.
When the silence isn't quiet, and it feels like it's getting hard to breathe, and I know you feel like dying, but I promise we'll take the road to his feet. Move mountains, bring it to his feet. Move mountains.
And I'll rise up, I'll rise like the day, I'll rise up, I'll rise unafraid, I'll rise up, and I'll do it 1,000 times again. For you, for you, for you.
All we need is hope. And for that we have each other. And for that we have each other. We will rise. We will rise. We will rise. times again. I'll rise up, high like the waves, I'll rise up. In spite of the age, I'll rise up. And I'll do it 1,000 times again. For you, for you. For you.
The Outstanding Volunteer Award, presented by Reverend Susan Kramer Mills.
The Outstanding Volunteer Award is given to an individual or group who is a driving force in volunteering and/or philanthropy. The United Methodist Church of New Brunswick will be honored for its ministry to feed the hungry, whose numbers grew during the pandemic. They also provided meals to domestic violence survivors and their children who reside at Town Clock Community Development Corporation. I just want to add this really personal note. For once the pandemic started in May, I started getting texts from Pastor Cindy Stauffer, and it was almost nightly, saying, Susan, we have a few extra meals. Do you think your women would be willing to take them? I'm like, oh yeah, they want them, they want them. So it would be back and forth, back and forth. Now it's like a totally accepted program. I'm not being texted on a nightly. They just show up, and I suddenly see that one of the residents has texted everybody and says, the meals are here. It's a wonderful ministry that the United Methodist Church has been offering, and so we're deeply grateful. And it is my pleasure to present this year's Outstanding Volunteer Award to Reverend Cynthia Stauffer, pastor of the United Methodist Church of New Brunswick.
So they asked me 3 weeks ago to give my speech. I thought this must be what they do with pastors, because we talk too much. But it is a great honor to be able to share with all of you tonight as we celebrate the warriors, the survivors of domestic violence. I am continually in awe of the amazing work that the Town Clock does on behalf of so many. And the numbers are not enough. We are glad to be able to help support the women and children who have found a home at Dina's Dwelling. Tonight, I am accepting this award for my church family, the United Methodist Church at New Brunswick, across the street. But I am also accepting on behalf of the many volunteers and partners that allow us to be engaged daily in the mission and ministry in our city. When the pandemic began, it was a young man, not even a member of my church, who saw the need. He saw people on the streets that were hungry and began cooking meals and serving them outside our Liberty Street doors each night. I give thanks for his courage and for the many others that came alongside us in this past year. I want to thank our partners who provided us with meals weekly, Archangel Raphael's Mission and John El Maragi, and God Will Provide Ministry in East Brunswick and their pastor. I mean, we are running low on volunteers, and God Will Provide. Their pastor, Pastor Artem, came, and Praise English Ministry from the Praise Presbyterian Church, and Ethnos Ministry, and Pastor Yukon, and Elijah's Promise. We are so blessed with amazing interns and people who coordinate to make sure that everything runs smoothly, especially for Sabina right now. What a blessing she is. And most importantly, for the volunteers, the captains, some of whom are here tonight, for John and Anton, for Janelle and Karen and Steve, and so many others. This ministry is built on the shoulders of people who are willing to give generously of their time and their hearts. What we have learned over the last year and a half is that we are much better when we come together to care for the needs of one another. There is an abundance of resources when we are willing to walk with one another. I am so grateful to accept this award on behalf of all those who continue to offer hope in the midst of our city. Thank you.
Coming back to the stage, our host, Bert Barron.
Congratulations once again. Wow. Very well deserved. Well, let's take a check-in on our artist, Laura DeQuilla. She's very busy over there. You guys keeping an eye on what she's doing over there? I had a chance to see some of her work earlier, and I could just describe it as just beautiful and very inspiring and very heartfelt. So, we, of course, will check in with you one last time at the end of the show. But how's it going so far? Very nice. Wow. If I could draw a stick figure, I'd be happy, right? Just as a quick reminder, everybody, after the show, you can visit our shop in the lobby where you can, of course, purchase The Gift of Time by Lauren Weinstein or one of the art prints by our Town Clock CDC residents, which are just also incredible, too. Also, remember, 75% of the sale of the art prints will go directly to the Town Clock residents. Now, we haven't forgotten about our online viewers. You guys are logged in, right? Yeah, you can go to townclockcdc.org to make your purchases there. And of course, all proceeds benefit the work of Town Clock CDC and the residents. Our next award this evening will be for the Outstanding Provider Award. So let's once again welcome back to the stage Reverend Susan Kramer Mills.
The Outstanding Provider Award is given to an individual or group who provides emergency services to survivors of domestic violence. Tonight, we honor Safe and Sound Somerset for its work on the front lines through the pandemic, supporting an increasing number of victims of domestic violence and providing them with critically needed services. It is with great pleasure that I present this year's Outstanding Provider Award to Tanya F. McKinley on behalf of Safe and Sound Somerset.
Thank you. Safe and Sound Somerset is honored to accept Town Clock CDC Outstanding Service Provider Award. We're an agency that is a team of advocates who steadfastly place themselves on the front lines by partnering with survivors of domestic violence to help them discover a pathway to safe, independent living. This is why we understand and we appreciate the work Town Clock is doing to advance the mission, Housing First mission, and help survivors. In 2020, a year that I'm sure none of us will forget. Safe and Sound Somerset quickly transitioned from 100% in-person to remote so there was no lapse in services or trauma-informed services. And as a result, we were able to provide services to over 4,000 survivors. Thank you. Some of those services, we were able to provide 5,506 nights of shelter through our Emergency Safe House program and our Transitional House program, and over $154,000 of financial assistance for rental assistance and flexible funding assistance that came in the form of transportation, utility, and child care assistance. And we all know how crucial child care is for survivors of domestic violence. Many of these survivors participated in our newly launched Domestic Violence Housing First initiative. It's an initiative that is based on empowerment and partnership so survivors can find safe housing rapidly. So what I would like to do when I'm partnering with survivors at our agency, I do a power visualization. And I would like for all of you to join me this evening. And if you can just close your eyes just for a few minutes, because I want you to feel this like how I feel this. Imagine a mother who has her child in one hand, and in the other hand, she has the key to her new home in the other hand. She uses that key to unlock the door to her new home, and she walks inside, and she looks around, and she's staring. Suddenly, tears of freedom, safety, and peace stream down her face. She embraces her child, and then she pauses, and then she exhales. Everyone, that's what courage looks like, and that's what being brave looks like. And for that reason, Safe and Sound Somerset will continue, and we are committed to providing access to our confidential services that offer healing and safety 24 hours, 7 days a week. In Town Clock, we are so honored again, and we're grateful and we're blessed for this award. And we want to thank all of you who are here tonight for supporting the Housing First mission. Thank you. Thank you.
Performing her latest single, Falling in Love, welcome to the stage, Kiana LaShaw.
Hello, everyone. Love is giving someone the power to hurt you, but trusting that they won't. But no one's perfect, so if they do, will you stay and fight it through? I loved you yesterday, today, and forever, so my answer is yes, I do. I threw away the fairy tales, now I'm writing the story with you. I've fallen in love with you. I'm giving my all to you. Spend the rest of my life loving you. 'Cause love's not always something that you feel, but it's something that you do. Love's not always something that you feel, but it's something that you do. I've seen your sacrifice, I've seen you change, and I'm willing to do the same. I've made you mad, I've made mistakes, but you loved me still the breaking chains, but my vow to you remains. I'll love you when it's easy, and I'll stand with you through the rain. I've fallen in love with you. Falling in love with you. I'm giving my all to you. Spend the rest of my life loving you. 'Cause love's not always something that you feel, but it's something that you do. Love's not always something that you feel, but it's something that you do. Love's not always something that you feel, but it's something that you do. And I'm falling in love with you. Thank you, Town Clock.
It is our pleasure to introduce R&B superstar and close personal friend of our 2021 Being Brave Award recipient, Miss Melba Moore. Please welcome to the stage Mr. Freddie Jackson, along with Reverend Susan Kramer Mills.
The Being Brave Award is given for outstanding leadership in empowering women and breaking the cycle of domestic violence. Prior recipients of the Being Brave Award include Cheryl Lee Ralph, actor, philanthropist, and activist, and Tarana Burke, activist and founder of the Me Too movement. I am delighted to be here tonight, and I'm not washing any of my hands after this, because I just touched Freddie Jackson, and who knows, and he knows the honoree very well, and I'm not going to be washing the other hand when I touch Melba Moore. And I don't know any of you, and this is not on these things, all right, if any of you danced in the 80s and the 90s, as I did, you would have danced to these two. So here you are.
That was really, really good. And yes, I did dance to a lot of Melba Moore's songs. I danced to anybody's songs, to be honest with you. I stayed in the club as a kid, but this is not about my past. I am honored to be here for Town Clock. Let's give them a round of applause, everyone. This work is very much so needed. And I do a pod show every Thursday night. And I make it my business to shout out Town Clock. Why? Because it's important to help somebody else. And there are a lot of people who need a lot of help, especially today. So the service that you are providing, I say thank you. And I'm sure there's many of us out there who would like to say thank you as well. So thank you so much. Lean on me. Can you hear me out there? Because I'm rock and roll, I'm loud. So usually I'd be screaming, but I'm trying to be debonair and cute. But I'm not going to be. But lean on me, of course. Those are the words 40 years ago that Miss Melba Moore said to me. I started out as Melba Moore's background singer, and then she had the nerve to let me go center stage. She said, "What in the world have I done?" But it was the greatest gift that anyone can bestow upon me, and I learned so much from her. And she said to me on an airplane in a big fur coat, very big fur. I'm like, why does this lady have on this big fur coat on the airplane? But she was Melba Moore. And so I sat next to her and she says, "Freddie, learn from me. Watch me, observe what I do, how I get it done." And you can't pay for that in this industry. That's why I try to teach a lot of kids today many different things that she has taught me. And God knows she's taught me a lot. And I've been in the business now for 40 years, and I can always go back and call Miss Melba Moore for advice. Now, I teach a lot of things that she has taught me to people, but where I stop at teaching people is holding that high note. And as long as she does, when I see Melba Moore reach back like this and she squats back like this, I'm like, we're going to be here for a couple of minutes. Yeah, am I telling the truth? Somebody knows I'm telling the truth. And as a background singer, I was like, oh, God, I just want to get off stage. And she just, but just today, I haven't seen her in a long time, and so we was in the dressing room, and we were just reminiscing and going back to the good, good old days. So lean on me. I'm still leaning on Miss Melba Moore. And if are you leaning on her? Because she's still singing this song. But in the words of a song that I would say, there's something that I want to say. You want it, don't you? But words sometimes get in the way. You are my lady. You're all. Okay, I'm not supposed to do all of that. You're all I'm living for. You are my lady. That's a short version of Melba. Yeah, that's right, Key. You hitting it. I might have to hire you out. But I just want to say I love her dearly, and I got a lot of love for her. And once again, I know she loves Town Clock. Her birthday was yesterday, right? Come on, say happy birthday to Melba Moore. Happy birthday to you. Sing it. Happy birthday, dear Melba. Happy birthday to you. Ladies and gentlemen, my mentor, the love of my life, a whole lot of love, a lot of love, a lot of love, the one and the one and the only, the original Ludi Bell, Gussie Mae Jenkins, and Pearlie. Somebody stand up and give it to Miss Melba Moore.
I was backstage listening and a little bit in tears because I've heard so many people tell my story. And so many people have helped me. Of course, being brave wasn't around back in the day when I was having my challenges. But I remember being evicted, being homeless, not knowing where my daughter was. I only have one child. And people helping me to the point where one day I had a key to a new apartment. And I had my daughter's phone number. I didn't even know where she was staying. And I said, baby, come home and be with Mommy. She says, Mommy, where do you live? I had to go get her and show her where I live. I had a new home. She said, Mommy, you live here because people like you did so many great things for me. I'm really so grateful, not only to have survived and to get this award. I don't speak like the pastors do so much, so that's why I asked, could I please sing a song? And before I lose my voice crying, I'm going to go sing.
Now, for the moment we've been waiting for. Performing Lean on Me, Tony Award winner, multifaceted entertainer, R&B legend, and our 2021 Being Brave Award recipient, the incomparable Miss Melba Moore.
Thank you. Thank you. I hope I have some voice left. Thank you. Just let me walk this road of life with you. I wanna walk it step by step, uphill or down, no matter where it's leading to. Oh, oh, yeah. I wanna take you by your hand. You should find hills along the way, too steep to climb. I won't ever let you fall. I just want to keep you standing tall. I know we're gonna make it. And let me dream. All the dreams you're dreaming of. It doesn't matter, big or small. I know together we can make them all come true. My dream, the impossible. Your heart. Find your dreams, keep on falling all apart. I won't ever let you fall. I just want to keep you standing tall. I know we're gonna make it. Standing tall. See, I found out that with Jesus, that's what Jesus knows. He said it helped me. Come on. And I made it leaning on Jesus. Good God Almighty, I made it. Leaning on Jesus. I made it. Leaning on Jesus. Help me, y'all. Woo! Said I made it. Leaning on Jesus. Yes, I made it. Still leaning on Jesus. Hey, 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 hey. Ah, 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 ah. With a lot of help from my friends. Thank you. Yes, I need a drink now.
Well, how about it? One more time for Melba Moore. Wow.
Thank you.
Well, I told myself I wouldn't turn into fanboy, but forget that. Wow, what a performance. So honored to have you with us here tonight.
Thank you
What a
very much.
blessing.
I'm so honored.
My God. And belated happy birthday, by the way.
Thank you.
I spent the day after my birthday in a college gym waiting to get vaccinated. This is much more fun, so thank you. You've done it all, obviously, Melba. Movies, television, music, obviously. Stages much, much bigger than this one. I've been following you on social media. I did my homework on you tonight before I had the privilege of having the few moments to speak with you. What keeps the fire burning for you? What keeps you motivated and keeps you going?
It's God's presence. He gives us each other. He gives us our gifts. And I think the greatest gifts we have really are each other. I could sing as much as I want to in the bathroom, but if I don't have an audience, there's no inspiration. And I think you find out sometimes what your gifts are when you just keep trying, you know. And I have a Bachelor of Arts degree in education and music, so I'm sure I could get a job. But it wouldn't be a calling. And so I don't know an intelligent reason why you keep going. But as I look back now, since God has been good to me a long, 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 long time, it seems that, first of all, He provides for you. God provides somebody who will say yes and give you a chance to sing. I love singing. It's in my blood. It's in my family. Even if they don't pay you, then you know you should do something to try to make some money too. So it just keeps you going.
Sure. As a domestic violence survivor yourself, how did you spread your wings? What got you through such a difficult period in your life?
Other people, you can't do anything bad even by yourself. I remember I tried so hard to keep my apartment, but eventually, I lived on Central Park South, which is a very, very exclusive neighborhood. And so I filed for welfare once my friends taught me how to do that. And I was able to pay my rent, but they don't want welfare recipients on Central Park South. So I was evicted anyway. But someone called me and asked me to come out on the road with them. I'm a born-again Christian, so I'm sure it was prayer and answered prayer. But I was evicted just at the time that this gentleman invited me out to do this. It was the first gospel play. Everybody's heard of Tyler Perry, but nobody's heard of Michael Matthews. He actually started this. And to make a long story a little bit shorter, he invited me to come out on the road with him, and he sold out shows in houses twice as big as this when nobody was doing this. And he paid me like $7,000 a week in cash, because it's what we call chitlin. They don't pay you by a check. They pay you by. That's one of the ways we tell chitlin. They pay you cash. So somebody else had always taken care of those things for me. So he took me in the back of the tour bus, and he made me count my money myself. but it was in a brown paper bag. So, but, but they gave me money, you know. And then my friends that were out in this tour, they were actually all born-again saved people. So they prayed with me, and I didn't know where my daughter was, so I was in grief. I was just sat like this, just stunned, just overwhelmed, just displaced, and no idea where to go or what to do. And they showed me how to do my business at the post office. I learned about money orders because I didn't have a bank account. And eventually, I got enough money to get attorneys to file bankruptcy because my enemies, I won't say who they are now because this is going to stream. I'm not trying to hurt anybody, anymore. If they had showed me then, I would have got a gun and learned how to use it. But I've calmed down a little bit. First of all, I have my daughter back. As you see, I have my friend Freddie back. I have my friends back. God has been good to me. I have everything back. So it's easier to forgive now and kind of, I hope, lay the pathway and help your organization and the others that are helping people. And I'm glad you mentioned, too, that there are many men who are suffering from all kinds of abuse and violence. And we all need to just help each other. So I'm a little overcome because it's a personal experience with me. This is not the Oscar Awards. And it's new. We didn't have this kind of organized help when I was going through my challenges, and so I get a little overcome.
Well, you have a lot more supporters and a lot more people backing you and praying for you than you think, and that's the absolute truth. Words of inspiration maybe for our other survivors who are here tonight, and we have a sizable audience who's watching us online, and the moments that we have this evening are going to live long after tonight, of course. What are some words of inspiration you would share with other survivors?
Well, one of the things that really helped me is that I had 2 or 3 people. I said, it seems like something is wrong. Speak out. Speak to somebody. Even if you don't know where to go. And I think the first place you're supposed to go is a church. It's their job to, if they don't have an organization, to bring you in and help you, get some kind of counseling. It's important to talk to people, but you really need good advice because some people can't do that. But we have lots of it available to you, and I'm sure that on your website and your streamings, you're going to let people know where they can come, or just go online and say what your problem is. Or there are lots of prayer ministries on TV where you can call in and they can counsel you, or pray. Be with somebody. Don't, because one of the first things that an abuser does is isolate you. They take you away from your friends, from your family, from anybody that, first of all, I don't know what it is, the demon possession that they have. They know what they're doing, but they don't. Because they're sick too, they need help too. And many times they do this because they were abused. But the point is, they have a guilt and a shame while they're oppressing you. They don't want anybody to know this. So if you have to sneak, which you usually do, please speak out. Go and get somebody that's outside of the realm of that activity to get some help. You're not always able to confront the situation or deal with it right then, but the counseling helps to rebuild you because you've been torn down, and it's been done systematically. And after a while, you'll see even your posture just starts to shrink, and your spirit is gone. And so you always have something, I think, to call somebody and say, could I just talk to you? Would you? So I remember I was so shut down, I couldn't talk. But it brings me to tears to think that my friend would just sit down and say, Mama, don't you say nothing. I'll talk to you. And she would just talk to me and talk to me and talk to me. And, of course, music should be understood by people as an incredible, powerful instrument that God uses to unite us. And we should use it for that purpose. And I try to do that. And when you hear music, try to make it be good, positive music that inspires you. And if you have the ability not to turn on something that's going to make you sad, don't listen to it. It has great, 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 great power. And I think I'm a witness. I wasn't always able to hit these notes. But people inspired me, and I kept trying, and I kept trying out of inspiration. And you get stronger at whatever you practice. And I just would inspire people to, first of all, reach out and, of course, go to Being Brave's website and streaming and find out all the different ways that they have to help you.
Well, what a delightful person and such an honor to have her. One more time for Melba Moore. Wow, that's a life moment, huh? Wow. All right, this is where I got to put the guys to work. My fellow men, are you guys ready to help me out with this one now? Don't let me down, fellas. Don't let me down, guys. Tonight, we would like to invite all the men in our audience who are able to please join us on stage for what we call the Man Stand. And what we are going to do, we'll first want the guys to put on their End Domestic Violence masks that you were given as you came into the beautiful theater here tonight. Please rise up and walk to either this side of the theater or that side of the theater, and please join me along the stage. Along the walls, you're going to see an open door to join me here on the stage, and we've got some volunteers who are standing by to guide you here. This is where we honor and recognize these men for showing their solidarity with survivors of domestic violence. They're proudly wearing purple masks with the wording, End Domestic Violence. And while the men are coming to the stage here, we want to remind you to use the links in your digital playbill to donate to this very worthy cause. Now, there are also several men who unfortunately could not be with us here in person tonight, but they feel strongly also about breaking the cycle of violence. Let's take a moment to hear what they have to say.
My name is Johnny. I stand against domestic violence. I invite you to stand with me against all harmful behaviors, such as pressuring, shaming, insulting, demeaning, controlling, and intimidating and threatening. I also support the work of the Town Clock CDC to transform the lives of survivors and their children. Will you join me to help survivors build better lives and spread their wings?
I'm Kevin, and I stand against domestic violence. I invite you to stand with me against all harmful actions, such as pressuring, shaming, insulting, demeaning, controlling, intimidating, and threatening behavior.
I am Mario Vargas. I stand against domestic violence. I also support the awesome work of the Town Clock CDC to transform the lives of survivors and their children.
My name is Jason Stavridis, and I stand against domestic violence. I also support the work of Town Clock CDC to transform the lives of survivors and their children.
My name is Randy Farkas, and I stand...
My name is David Potter.
I'm Neil Murata.
Hi, my name is Phil Zambrana.
Hi, I'm Nick Lagani, councilman from Milltown, New Jersey, and I stand against domestic violence.
We are all borough officials of Milltown, New Jersey, and we stand against domestic violence.
I'm Justin Ballard, and I stand against domestic violence.
Hello, my name is Detective Gallardo of the New Brunswick Police Domestic Violence Unit.
Hello, my name is Tony Nakamura.
I'm Jeff Key.
I'm Dave Seaman.
I invite you to stand with me against all harmful actions.
And I also invite you to stand with me against all the harmful actions of domestic violence, such as
pressuring, shaming, insulting, demeaning, controlling, intimidating, and threatening behavior.
I also support the work of Town Clock CDC.
My name is Joseph Piatanza, and I stand against domestic violence. I also support the work of Town Clock CDC to transform the lives of survivors and their children.
I also support the work of Town Clock CDC to transform the lives of survivors and their children.
I'm Walter Pearson of the Woodbridge Township Domestic Violence Response Team, and I stand against domestic violence.
I invite you to stand with me against all harmful actions,
such as pressuring, shaming, insulting, demeaning, controlling, intimidating, and threatening behavior.
Please join me to help the survivors of domestic violence build a better life and spread their wings.
Please join us to help survivors of domestic violence build better lives and spread their wings. Thank you.
Please join me to help survivors.
Will you join me to help survivors build better lives?
Please join me to help survivors.
Please join me to help survivors of domestic violence build better lives.
Please join me to help survivors of domestic violence build better lives.
Please join me to help survivors of domestic violence build better lives and spread their wings.
Please join me to help survivors of domestic violence build better lives and spread their wings.
Build better lives and spread their wings.
Support, donate. I did.
Please join me to help survivors of domestic violence build better lives and spread their wings.
Yep, you know, it's really true when we stand in solidarity, we really can affect change. Please welcome to the stage the director of the New Brunswick Fire Department and my friend, Robert Rawls.
To paraphrase a well-known quote, being brave is not the absence of fear, it is the strength to face fear. I brought a few of my friends along with me here today, and as firefighters, we try to face fear head on every day. So we recognize bravery when we see it in others. The women of Town Clock CDC and all people who stand up to domestic violence are brave. Let me repeat that. The women of Town Clock CDC and all people who stand up against domestic violence are brave. That is why all of us at New Brunswick Fire Department support the main stand and work of Town Clock CDC. Our firefighters participated in the first man stand, and I am proud to have more of our firefighters represent our department again tonight. And we look forward to standing up to domestic violence every day and at future Being Brave events. On stage tonight, we also have with us many men from New Brunswick and the greater New Jersey community standing against all harmful actions, demeaning, controlling, intimidating, and threatening behavior. They are fathers, they are sons, they are grandfathers, uncles, brothers, nephews, husbands, partners, and friends standing up to protect the lives of their loved ones. All these men here today are standing with us in solidarity against domestic violence. We also have with us student athletes from Rutgers University who are committed to ending domestic violence. That's right, RU, go RU. Kyle Holder, who was a very accomplished member of the Rutgers men's track and field team from 2012 through 2017, will represent all of us by sharing his story. Please help me welcome to the stage Kyle Holder.
So my story begins my freshman year when our team captain from the track team he invited me and a bunch of our teammates to a meeting with a group of people called Scream Athletes. I didn't know what that was at the time, but he said there was free pizza, so how do you get athletes in the door? You give them free food. Although free food got me in the door, what kept me coming back was this amazing group of men and women that were advocating against sexual violence, domestic violence, dating violence, harassment, and more. I recognized that this message, unfortunately, needed to be amplified. Now, I say unfortunately because you and I both know that these conversations don't happen enough. And we don't have these conversations enough with our friends, our loved ones, especially us men. That's why I'm honored to be here as a part of the Man Stand to encourage these conversations to end all violent behavior. So from there, I took off running. Track pun intended. I became very involved in Scream Athletes, which stands for Students Challenging Realities and Educating Against Myths. Soon enough, my teammates and I were performing improvisational skits for thousands of our peers to educate them on the need to confront misogynistic, derogatory behavior and dehumanizing language. At the same time, we were encouraging other men to be models for their friends and challenging people to be positive, active bystanders. Eventually, I became the person people felt comfortable calling in the middle of the night for help when they heard something terrible might have happened. Students called me if someone had forced themselves onto them or when they were in a relationship that became dangerous. And every call came for the same reason. They didn't know what to do. They were afraid to go to the police, to talk to anybody, to go to the hospital, or reach out to any services. And it hurt every single time the call came in. Many, many times I wish that I wasn't the person that they could call, because witnessing such devastation, it takes an emotional toll out that I'm sure you can understand. However, I couldn't imagine what those people would have done if they didn't have someone to call in that moment. And all I did was listen and offer resources that I knew of. People suffering after a traumatic event, they don't need to hear how they were at fault. They don't need to hear how they could have avoided the situation. I think we all have a duty to create this survivor-centered culture where no one is ever scared to seek help. Now, that's my vision for my entire community, and the issue is very personal for me, since a while ago I met a very special young lady who didn't realize that she had been emotionally abused for years by a man who belittled her, made her feel like she was weak and powerless. And it wasn't until he physically assaulted her that she sought a way out of that situation. She made the brave decision to end that relationship. Thinking the worst was behind her, there was a day she was dropping off the last of his belongings when she faced death head on. And if not for the intervention of a positive, active bystander, my beautiful, amazing, courageous wife, Alma, would not be sitting here with us tonight. And on that day, several people tried to tell her that she shouldn't have gone by herself, that she should have known better. And I'm embarrassed that her community wasn't there to support her, and her community failed to place the blame on the person who actually committed the crime. However, after some time, and after seeking some resources with people that did support her, she now tells her story with pride, strength, and courage so that other individuals suffering a similar situation, they can see that they don't have to go through it alone. I could not be more honored to spend the rest of my life with her. I hope that my wife's story and some of my experiences can inspire you all to seek help if you need or provide helpful information to someone who you know might need it. Because throughout the state, there are amazing places like Town Clock CDC. There are other public and private resources for survivors where they can be supported. With each additional positive active bystander, we will be one step closer to creating a truly survivor-centered community. Thank you.
Wow, well, thank you so much, Kyle. Thank you, Director Rawls, and to all the men who are here tonight, on the video and at home, who are committed to the safety of women and being part of the Man Stand. One more time for the guys. All right, as the men are leaving the stage here, we're going to take a final look at the artwork of Laura D'Aquila. She's so busy over there. My goodness. Sketching and drawing. My goodness. Laura, can you just show us some of the work that you're doing over there and working on this evening? Look at this beautiful artwork that she's created. Wow. So many different, just gorgeous stuff. Very nice. Wow. You did all that just tonight? Wow. Amazing. Laura, I wanted to ask you, being a domestic violence survivor yourself, what does it mean to you personally to be here at this special evening? I wanted to get your thoughts.
It just means a lot to get to share a story that so many people have gone through my artwork. And since I'm not a very big talker, get to show it through this is really important to me.
Your artwork speaks volumes, and thank you again so much for being here.
Thank
Very
you.
inspirational. Let's applaud Laura for her capturing the essence of spreading our wings during tonight's Being Brave event. One more time for her. Thank you. As we approach the end of our journey here this evening, I wanted to give a personal thank you to my lovely bride. We just celebrated our 25th wedding anniversary earlier this month. And the lovely Karen Barron, I'm so glad she's with me tonight. Love you, Sugar Boo. Thanks so much. Well, tonight certainly has been a very inspirational journey for all of us. We have embraced who we are as survivors and as advocates and as allies. We've really embraced what is possible when we join together as individuals, as businesses, and as corporations with the goal of healing and creating safe homes and building strong communities. Every donation will help create more permanent, affordable homes and services for survivors of domestic violence. But please, do not just stop with your donation. Spread the messages that you heard tonight and let others tell others about Town Clock CDC and our residents. Let them know that the goal of this evening is to continue scaling this innovative and effective work, to help communities around the country build at least 2 of these facilities in every state in our incredible nation. We can make that happen, right? So, of course, visit us at townclockcdc.org/donate. Go to social media too, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. Follow us everywhere. Like the posts, share, and comment. It's very critical to raising awareness and helping even more survivors. Once again, we thank all of our sponsors for their support and dedication to women's empowerment. Thank you, of course. And once again, thank you to our honorees, our incredible performers, especially our wonderful Next Level band and singers, directed by our musical director, Devin Harris. Devin, if I'm ever offered a late night TV gig, I got my band. All right. A very special thank you to the New Brunswick Performing Arts Center and the team. You have made my job tonight ridiculously easy, as well as the 2021 Being Brave production team, and of course, our volunteers. We love our volunteers. Thank you all so much. I would also ask that you please review the digital playbill for a full list of everyone who helped make tonight possible, and let's give them a well-deserved round of applause. And as we get ready to say goodnight, I can't think of a more appropriate way to end the show than with the song golden. All these women live their lives like it's golden, and they spread their wings to survive and to thrive. Thank you for your commitment to Town Clock Community Development Corporation. And I part you with these words: go forth, be brave, and continue to spread your wings. God bless.
Hey, oh, hey, yeah, 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 yeah. I'm taking my freedom, pulling it off the shelf, putting it on my chain, wearing it around my neck. I'm taking my freedom, putting it in my car. Wherever I choose to go, it will take me far.
Living my life like it's golden. 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 Clap your hands. Living my life like it's golden. Living my life like it's golden. Living my life like it's golden. Golden.
I'm taking my own freedom, putting it in my song, singing loud and strong, grooving all day long. I'm taking my freedom, putting it in my stroll. I'll be high stepping, y'all, letting the joy unfold.
Living my life like it's golden. 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 Golden.
Living my life like it's golden, 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 golden.
Living my life like it's golden, golden,
if it's important,
golden,
like I'm worthy.
Golden. Living my life like it's golden, 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 golden.
Living my life like it's golden, like it's golden, like it's golden. Clap your hands.
Oh, living my life
like it's golden, 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 golden. Living my life like it's golden,
yeah. Living my life, yeah, like it's golden.